Hi guys, this is gsndom.com and I'm here with the Samsung Galaxy A5 2017 for a full review. This is the follow-up to the very successful and much appreciated Galaxy A5 2016 that in turn followed the first Galaxy A5, which was also well received for being ultra slim and having a capable camera. Now, this is a 5.2 incher with mid-range specs, debuted in January this year, and you can find it on Amazon priced at $339, which is quite affordable. Now, the phone comes in blue, black or gold and it's made of glass and metal, so let's get to the design. So it's clearly Galaxy S7 inspired, just like the predecessor was Galaxy S6 inspired. It's got 3D glass at the back with curved edges and 3D glass at the front also with only gently curved sides. The handset is certainly good looking. It's got a premium solid build, a metal frame, and this time it's also IP68 certified, so it's water and dust proof. It measures 7.9mm in thickness, which is the exact same thickness of the Galaxy S7, and weighs 159 grams, which is 7 grams more than the Galaxy S7. In spite of using glass at the back, it's not slippery, and it also makes for a pretty good phone to use with a single hand, like I'm doing right now, so it got the proportions all right. So elegant, comfy, premium build. My only drawback here to mention is the fact that it's a bit of a fingerprint magnet, especially at the back side. With the nice design checked out, it's time to analyze the display. So 5.2 inch Full HD Super AMOLED, and since we do not have a video player pre-installed, I'm going to have to resort to the gallery app and play our test video. Now, even though we're using the gallery app, some cool features from the standard video player are here. For example, we have the pop-up play feature, we got a GIF maker and the aspect ratio setup. As you can see, the colors are very vivid, typical for an AMOLED, they pop out of the screen. We also have an excellent brightness, good contrast, wide view angles, and pretty deep black. Now, we also subjected the screen to the microscope test, and under the microscope the pixels have a pentile matrix diamond-shaped setup. We also did a lux meter test and achieved a maximum value of 468 lux units, which is quite good. It surpasses the Motorola Moto Z Play and the Asus Zenfone 3 Deluxe, but scores below the predecessor, the Samsung Galaxy A5 2016, that had 505 lux. Not that big of a difference though. It also scores a bit below the Zenfone 3. It's still a very bright screen, and if you want to access its full potential, you go here to the options. We got a blue light filter, font options, and these main modes we've seen on quite a few Samsung phones: the adaptive display, AMOLED Cinema, AMOLED Photo, and Basic, plus the option to tweak your color balance with red, green, blue sliders. Okay, then there is the easy mode, icon frames, always on display with options here related to layouts. We can also show notifications on the standby screen, and that's about it. You can keep the screen turned off and set a screensaver, and overall this is a quality display, but let's see if the other hardware matches what we got here. So first of all, the CPU. Now the CPU used here is the octa-core Exynos 7880 40nm chip, clocked at 1.9 GHz and accompanied by 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage, of which about 23GB are free to use. There is a microSD card slot here, and I have to say there is no lag per se. However, even though the apps worked reasonably fine on this phone, sometimes the animations take a bit too long to load, which may be a bit annoying. Once again, I'm not calling this lag, just the animations are a bit too long and people may perceive that as lag. In general, it was all fluid, but mind the animation. Now, the gaming, of course, checks out. After all, we have 3GB of RAM, the excellent Samsung optimization, and a pretty good Exynos CPU, which 1.5 years ago would have made for an excellent flagship. So we're playing Riptide GP Renegade. I hope you're not bored with this game, we keep using it. It's our benchmark game. It launched on consoles, then on mobile last summer, and it's still a landmark. It's, if you want, the Crisis of mobile phones. As you know, Crisis 3 has been used for many years as a benchmark game for PCs. This is our Crisis, and as you can see, looks dandy and fine here. Solid graphics and controls. I'm happy with the frame rate, the textures, aliasing, and so forth, everything you should get on a modern phone. Now, we also did benchmarks to confirm the actual power of the phone, so let's check those out in the screenshots department. It's the usual collection of Quadrant, Antutu and so forth, and in Quadrant, for example, we beat the Huawei Honor 8 and Motorola Moto Z, but scored below the Huawei Nova Plus. We also did Antutu, and in Antutu 6, we beat the Huawei P10 Lite and the Motorola Moto M, but once again scored below the Huawei Nova this time and the Asus Zenfone 3. In the 3D Mark iStorm Unlimited, the gamers benchmark, we had I would say a reasonable score, beats the Huawei P10 Lite and the Asus Zenfone 2, but scored below, guess what, the iPhone 5S, which is not very flattering. Interestingly, in Geekbench 4, which is here, we were able to achieve pretty solid scores. The multi-core one is very impressive, it actually beats the Google Pixel XL, so pretty good performance. And if you want temperature, we achieved up to 32.3 degrees Celsius after playing the game you saw before, and with the intensive benchmark GFX bench, 33 degrees Celsius, so it's keeping it cool even under stress. Now the battery, here we're dealing with a 3000 mAh battery. The predecessor had a 2900 mAh unit that was very solid, and let's see how we did in our tests. Now, we first did HD video playback in a loop test, and we were able to achieve 14 hours and 59 minutes of continuous HD video playback, which is actually great. It even beats phones like the Galaxy S7, the Huawei Mate 9, and the predecessor, and it's 12 hours and 19 minutes. Still, there are other superior models like the Galaxy S7 Edge, or guess what? The Galaxy A3 2017 is a bit superior in this department. Now, the continuous usage test had us at 11 hours and 59 minutes, which is stellar. It's actually the 6th placed phone from all the hundreds of models we've tested. It beats everything, the Asus Zenfone 3 Max, Galaxy S8, the Galaxy A5 from last year, everything, and that's very impressive. Still, it scored below the Galaxy A3 2017 again, and below the Moto Z Play from Motorola, which is quite a hit in the PC Mark department. The charging was excellent. With only 1 hour and 30 minutes, we charged up the phone fully, and it places it on the 14th spot all time, and after 30 minutes of charging, you get 44% juice, and after 1 hour, 86%, so we're doing fine, even better than the Galaxy S8 if you can believe it. Now, we also have special settings for the battery, but they're not where you'd expect. They're in a special department, device maintenance, which is quite useful to have. Handles the storage, RAM and security, as well as the battery, of course. We got the power saving modes, mid, max and off. They tweak the performance, network and display. Here we got an app power monitor, unmonitored apps, notification settings, advanced settings, put unused ads to sleep, fast cable charging. It's a pretty well organized area, this one here, and it also has to do with notifications and apps draining the battery. So I'm very happy with the battery here, even the charging. Time to tackle the acoustics with a very interesting fact. I had to look for the speaker for a long while. It's not at the bottom, it's not at the top, it's not the earpiece. Guess what? It's here at the top right side. Interesting placement. We will not cover it in landscape, at least I think you won't. And I'm going to use the Google Play Music app, or you can download Samsung's Music app, which isn't half bad. It's not pre-installed this time. They're crazy about avoiding any sort of bloatware. Okay, and we go here, equalizer, and here we are with the tailor-made Samsung equalizer settings. These are the genre settings. We got knobs for bass, treble, instrument, and vocal. A few custom channels to tweak here. We got UHQ upscaler, surround, tube and pro, concert hall, adapt sound, and a few more features. But let's actually listen to some tunes and decide if this works for us or not. Okay, so conclusions, we're dealing here with a pretty loud experience. It's also pretty clear and crisp. I like the bass, I like the high notes, and it's actually one of the best phones I've heard in the acoustic department. Although somehow the decibel meter doesn't exactly concur with me, you will see in a minute. So these are the following results: 80.7 decibels achieved at the top and front area with the decibel meter using our audio sample. 85.1 decibels achieved at the front and top area, so the one before is actually in the top, so 80.7 decibels at the bottom front side with our audio sample, 85.1 decibels at the top and front side, once again with the sample. And when we played the game you saw before, which is Riptide, we got up to 83 decibels, which is strange. Usually games have a higher result. Anyways, 85 decibels is the max value here, and frankly speaking, in real life it feels like a bit more, and at least with the result you saw before, we surpassed the Huawei P10, for example. Now, the headphones, I'm not going to show you them, you saw them in the unboxing, they're typical, exactly the same you saw before on the Galaxy A5, A5 2016, Galaxy S5 even, so same as before, comfy, loud, clear, there's no FM radio here, and I'm happy with the acoustics. Now, the cameras. Very interesting because a very high resolution for the selfie camera, 16 megapixels f1.9 aperture for the selfies, and for the main shooter 60 megapixels LED flash, also f1.9 aperture. Now the camera UI is pretty similar to what you've seen before. Let's do a bit of cleaning, and it starts up very fast, as you can see, crazy fast. As I said before, feels pretty familiar and typical. We got here the modes: auto, pro, panorama, hyperlapse, HDR and night, plus food, and you can download more. Here you can play with a bunch of let's say filters, and of course you got your settings, and that's it in a nutshell. I have to say that the picture taking is quite fast, and focus speed is, I would say, mid-level. But let's get rid of this and go to the gallery, because we have quite a few shots to show you, and almost 200 of them. So we started off as usual on a very sunny day, and those are the results we achieved. Okay, so it was a very sunny day, and if you look closely you can see that the sky is a bit burnt and oversaturated. It's almost white, not close to blue as it should be, but in general I was happy with the clarity of the shots, sometimes even too happy. They feel a bit over sharpened, they simply look too good for their own good, which is something I also felt when I tested the predecessor, the Galaxy A5 2016. And once again the sky looks a bit burnt. It was midday, a very strong sun, and not many phones can handle that heat. Something to mention here is that if you zoom into the landscape shots, you'll get an impressive amount of details, and I'm also very happy with the selfies. I like the texture of the skin, the texture of the hair. Even though the background is a bit burnt and not the clearest in the world, I am too happy with the texture of the skin to compromise this selfie, so I'm happy with that quality. Here we have a few more shots. Of course, clarity is not an issue here, and neither is focus usually, but every now and then we did run into some blurry shots. You just have to wait and focus properly, not be rushed like I am, otherwise you'll get some blurred shots. So this is a zoom test. We kept zooming in, and we didn't lose many details, which is quite impressive. Okay, a few more shots here and there, pretty realistic colors, although if the sun is really shining you may get a burnt area or two. So good focus and good clarity, some burn here and there, some blur in the shade if you're feeling rushed, and if you want to take some close-ups of flowers, once again be patient, focus properly, otherwise you'll wake up with some blur, but when you actually take a close-up shot of a flower, the results are quite impressive. And we have a better example here somewhere. This shot is actually pretty impressive, as is this one, albeit burned. At least the details are impressive. So things to remember here: good clarity and colors, a tendency to over sharpen things, a bit of burn sometimes, but if you look at the Galaxy A5 from last year, it actually over sharpened more and overblown the colors a bit more, so this one has actually improved a bit, about 10% superior to the predecessor. Less over sharpening, better details for sure thanks to the high resolution, and I would say it beats the Huawei P10 Lite. It's very close to the Asus Zenfone 3, maybe it edges it a bit, it surpasses it a bit, and pretty much close to the Motorola Moto Z Play, but a bit better when it comes to details maybe. And once again, very good selfies. Not much to object there, so very good selfies. That's daytime capture. Now, low light capture has also been done. Here we are with quite a few blurred shots. So once again, be patient when you're taking a shot with this phone. It doesn't focus as fast as the Galaxy S7, that's something to remember. What's clear is that compared to the predecessor, you're catching more light, that's for sure, and perhaps more details. I'm happy with the colors, but I'm not happy with the fact that there are too many blurred shots. I would say the streetlight halos are okay, and keep in mind that the predecessor was a bit of a champion among mid-rangers during the night, so I would say things haven't changed that much, and one would be tempted to say that the predecessor took better shots at night if it weren't for the better lighting and texture that this phone captures. So we're also happy with the night time. It's a bit of a struggle with the Zenfone 3, which seems slightly superior during the night. And now we go to the videos. So Full HD MP4, 30 frames per second, 70 MB/s, and this time no more optical limit stabilization, which was available on the Galaxy A5 from last year. So let's see the videos we caught. Well, would be nice if we had them organized separately by videos and by photos, so we have to pick them up from here. Okay, so we're looking for vids, and we actually also use the front camera to record the video with not have bad results. It films in Full HD, the front camera, not bad at all. It's a 60 megapixel shooter after all. Pretty okay texture, you can do some vlogging, focuses on the face, good lighting and colors, so that checks out fine. Now let's try and find some other videos. For example, here we walked around a bit and noticed that the electronic stabilization does not hold a candle to the optical one, that's for sure. So stabilization not that impressive compared to the predecessor. And here we had the option to focus a bit on a close-up and then on the bigger picture, losing a bit of focus in the process but correcting it manually. Their colors are pretty okay unless they're burned by the sun, which does happen a bit. I'm very happy with the clarity, that's something to remember. And let's try and find more videos. There's also a video of a tomcat at some point, we're chasing it around, and more that you'll see later on. So this was taken actually in the shade on the streets. Pretty okay light here, nice clarity, good colors. So in general we're happy with the video capture. However, the predecessor was also great in this area, so it's a tough battle. I don't feel a big jump from that, especially because it has optical limit stabilization, but if you want to compare it to the Xperia XA and the Zenfone 3, this one is better. Now let's see the low light video capture, which somehow feels a bit better than the daytime one. So I'm happy with the light, the colors, the object tracking, even the microphone. So this would make a pretty swell concert phone. Okay, so that was video number 1. We should also have number 2 here, and even almost the stabilization looks quite okay. So lighting, colors, clarity, microphone, pretty good during the night. So if you want to shoot concerts with this phone, it's quite good for that purpose. Now we're done with the camera, let's go to the other aspects, like for example the browser. You can use Chrome or the one called Internet. It's Samsung's own browser, it has its own extensions, and let's load up our website, which is a good opportunity to see the virtual keyboard well spaced and having a numeric row. Not the fastest browser in the world, as you can see, and the benchmarks also confirm it, although it's true that we took them on Chrome and we achieved mid-level results on Velamo and SunSpider. Okay, so there's that, and now we go to the connectivity section. Now on the connectivity front, this handset has an USB Type-C port at the bottom, there's an audio jack, we got NFC, dual SIM setup in some countries, nano SIM card slots, there's 4G LTE available here, ANT Plus for the fitness tasks, GPS and GLONASS, Wi-Fi AB, GNAC, we got Bluetooth 4.2, Wi-Fi Direct, and those are the features associated with connectivity. These are actually the ones: Bluetooth, NFC, payment and so forth, mobile hotspot, that's the dialer, and the calls were very loud and clear, and I like the noise cancelling and the signal, those were top notch, nothing to object here. Time to check out the performance in our very own speed test. These are the results we achieved with a pretty impressive 92 megapixel download on 4G, 92 megapixel downloads on 4G, and 19 megapixel uploads, which is fine, and on Wi-Fi up to 222 megapixel downloads, 25 megapixel uploads. Once again, a great result, especially since this is a mid-range phone, not a flagship. Now, As far as the software goes, if it's familiar, it's because it reminds you of the software from the ill-fated Galaxy Note 7. We're running on Android Marshmallow, sadly, with the latest, well, not exactly latest, Samsung interface on top. It's something of a mixture between what we got on the Galaxy S8 and the Note 7. Everything is very white, transparent, clean, crisp. There's the briefing area powered by Flipboard at the leftmost side. There is the multitasking here with the option to pull off the good old split screen. Split the screen in two, and on the one hand you're going to use your email, on the other you're going to do browsing. You can also do the same if you want to browse photos and do other things. Okay, now this is the drop down section, notifications and quick settings, very clean, very well organized, very sober, very productivity like and focused. Now that's it as far as the looks go and the features. Oh, we forgot something. So on the home screen you can tweak wallpapers, themes, widgets and a screen grid. That's what you get to play with. As you can see, there's a lot of white and transparency for the widgets. Now, drop down, a ton of options, better structure than before, similar to what we see on iOS. Connections, sounds, vibrations, notification, and let's see what else. Display, wallpaper and themes, advanced features. We got your smart stay, we got your gaming feature. Here you can trigger your game launcher, put all the games in one spot, even maybe do a bit of streaming if that's available. One-handed operation, quick camera launch, device maintenance, and finally security is also available here. And you can register a fingerprint, unlock the device, secure it with a pin. As you can see, we have a physical home button here. Come on, okay, we got it. It's a pretty lengthy process. It may even take 20 steps or so. You have to be patient like you were with the camera focus. And at some point you'll be asked to put your finger at 90 degrees. Okay, so finally success, and now you can unlock the device and access your hidden content using those means. So as you can see, reasonably fast, not flagship fast, but still pretty fast. And that's the fingerprint scanner in a nutshell. You have a special secure folder. You can basically it's a metaphor, you can access that whole new phone that's different from the current one you're using, having different data. So basically you're leading a double life or something like that. Anyways, we saw the fingerprint scanner, we saw the options, and now about the apps. I counted them all. There's 39 pre-installed apps with a Microsoft Suite, Excel, PowerPoint, Skype, Word. There's the Google Suite and a few other basic things. We got your Samsung package here with Samsung Health as voice, Samsung members. Here you can monitor everything. We got my files. We also have FM radio in the mix, which is by the way here, although we said we don't have radio, well, here it is. Samsung Themes, Samsung Notes, which also includes some cute brushes to play with. Okay, and let's see what else. We also have Google Apps. I told you that before. And as I said before, you have a special Galaxy Apps store from Samsung. That's it in a nutshell, and the good news is that you can uninstall the apps you want to get rid of. So this is the Samsung Galaxy A5 2017 edition, and it's time for the verdict. On the Pro side, it's got an excellent build quality, a premium design, an excellent battery and performance. It's a waterproof phone that takes great selfies, and it has a bright screen plus a pretty nice looking user interface that's minimalistic. It's got a bright display, good performance, fast charging, it films quite well, especially during the night, and has great connectivity. Now on the con side, maybe Android Nougat should have been on board. It's a fingerprint magnet. It's not that loud, as the decibel meter showed. Some over sharpening and focus struggles happen with the camera, and the low light capture is a bit below the rivals, especially because we also do not have optical image stabilization. Now the conclusion, this phone is about let's say $150 cheaper than the Galaxy S7, and in spite of that it feels strangely close to the Galaxy S7. One would call it the Galaxy S7 Lite. It's that close to it. Look at the design, the front, the features, the camera, very close to the S7, but not quite there. So this offering is clearly an upgrade from the predecessor, that's for sure. We saw that in the battery, we saw that in the camera, we saw that even in the performance and the benchmarks, so that's something to remember here. It is an upgrade from the predecessor, but that model continues to hold its own. It will be remembered as the Galaxy S7 Lite rather than a mini, doesn't make compromises, and the only clear drawbacks are the lack of optical image stabilization, lack of Android Nougat, and maybe, just maybe, the volume. Other than that, it's the perfect Samsung mid-ranger to buy right now. This is it from gsn.com. Bye bye.